You're welcome to today's episode of The Human Angle. When you hear the word debt, what comes to mind? You'll agree with me that the word debt sometimes sounds really scary. Now let's try to create an imaginary picture. A debt can be compared to a ship with a little crack that is allowing water into it, but because it is still sailing, everything seems fine until it has taken in too much and it begins to sink. And at the point you notice that you are neck deep, it is when the ship has already sunken so deep. Now, it is so easy to get into debt. It is just one circumstance or a challenge or a problem and you're in. And then getting out becomes an issue, like a big problem. Some come out wounded or battered, some lose their integrity, and the worst is that some do not even come out of it alive. So therefore, on this premise, we will be discussing the debt management from the Proshare Foundation. So what exactly is debt? The Oxford Dictionary defines it as a situation where money is owed by one party to another. And as simple as this concept of debt is, it can be rather complicated. And this is the reason so many people have been unable to manage their financial lives adequately. And being in debt has been the ruin of many lives and has sent many to an early grave. And this leaves one wondering if debt can be a useful financial tool or a baggage that complicates one's life. Now, there are two categories of debt, and there is the good and the bad. Now, the good debt which could be a loan either from a financial institution or an individual or a cooperative with the potential to increase your net worth. Now, an example or examples of debts or good debts can include getting an education, a loan to start a small business or grow your already existing business, or borrowing to start a real estate or towards home ownership. Now, bad debts involves borrowing money to purchase a depreciating asset. An example of bad debts can include borrowing to buy a car, or borrowing to buy a phone, which is a depreciating asset, or borrowing to buy clothes and consumables and other services. Now, you can imagine having to borrow just to service your subscriptions like DSTV, Netflix, or even borrow to hold a party. Did I just hear somebody say, no way? I mean, it is a bad debt. It happens. You see some people even go as far as borrowing to organize parties and even to buy ashwebi. I know it makes the party colorful, no doubt about that. But where does this leave you? I mean, your debt level and your financial status. Now, the truth is, debts are not necessarily a bad thing. However, being able to manage the repayment of such debts becomes a test of not just a person's character, but one's personal finance prowess. Now, you might want to ask the question, how can I get out of debt or stay out of it? Now, the first is, you need to know how deep your ship has sunk. So, how much debt do you have? Always know how much you owe. Now, you can make a list of your debts, including the creditor, the total amount owed, the interest payable, that is if any, and then payback periods and a plan on how to pay back, and given the state of your financial affairs. Now, the second is decide to stop creating more debt for yourself. I mean, I know that this can be very tough. It is a tough decision to make, I agree, but do yourself a favor to keep that in mind. Now, the third is draw out a repayment plan. But if you do not have one, or if you have one already, you may want to review it and see if it is still doable with your present financial status. Now, the fourth is keep to the time frame of your payments on your monthly bills. I mean, a lot of people are in a debt predicament because they refuse to honor their monthly remittance without having a restructured payback agreement. Hence, repayments and interest grow, which often lands them in trouble. Now, the fifth is always at every point in time, always have an emergency fund to fall back on. Now, an emergency fund allows you the luxury of having something to fall back on when you are servicing a loan and may require all your income to pay off that debt. Lastly, which is number 6, know when you need help. It is important that we understand our belief system towards money. Now, this largely influences our lifestyle, and as such, some have developed a chronic habit of spending. Now, when this becomes a problem, it is okay to speak to a financial mentor or an accountability partner who may prefer a solution that will help you avoid financial ruin. Now, on a final note, I'll leave you with the words of Frederick Douglass that says, "If there is no struggle, there is no progress." And that will be all for today's edition of The Human Angle. You might want to share with us 1 or 2 things that you have learned, or if you've got questions or comments, kindly send it to programs@ProshareNG.com or business@ProshareNG.com. We'll be glad to hear from you. Visit our website on www.ProshareNG.com to get more information on your personal finance and updates from our news stories and videos. And you can also follow us on all our social media platforms showing in your screen. Till next week, thank you for watching, and bye for now.